Okay, guys, UFC 303 is finally here, and this is going to be my prediction video for every single fight on this card. I'll let you guys know what I think the outcomes will be, starting with Ricky Simone and Vinicius Oliveira. So I'm gonna go with Ricky Simone for the win. Vinicius Oliveira is very slow. He doesn't really throw combinations unless his opponent is already super wobbly and weakened. We saw this in his fight against Bernardo Sofai. Ricky throws his 1-2s. He shoots for takedowns. Also, Oliveira's takedown defense is not that good. We saw this in his fight against Bernardo Sofai as well, where he struggled. And I'm thinking that Oliveira is just going to get outpaced by Ricky Simone. I don't like how slow he is. I don't like that he's not aggressive unless his opponent is in a weak position. And Bernardo Sofai was actually doing pretty well, and then he stupidly let himself get hurt, to be honest. So I don't think that Ricky Simone is going to do that. I also think he's got better grappling. And yeah, so I think he's going to win. The next fight I wanted to talk about was with Rey Tsuruya and Carlos Hernandez. So I'm going to go with Rey Tsuruya by points, so decision. We saw Carlos struggle against Tatsuro Taira, and I'm not saying that Rei Tsuruya is Tatsuro Taira or the same, but they do train together. And I have a feeling that Rei Tsuruya is gonna win this one by just grapevining Carlos Hernandez for most of the time. Even though I don't think he's amazing, he's persistent and determined enough, and he never stops getting creative with his scrambles. So I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna take him for points on this one, because I don't think he's got the finishing potential. We saw this in his fight on the Contender Series. He almost got these finishes, but then didn't quite. So I'm worried that might happen again. And so I'm gonna go with him by decision because he's still gonna get the control time, I guess. I think he's gonna be winning these scrambles in a dominant kind of way, so I'm gonna go with him by decision. So the next fight on this card is with Andrei Arlovski and Martin Buday. So Andrei Arlovski is 45, and Martin Buday used to play CSGO for 20 hours a day. This is what we're working with here, guys. I've been watching both of their fights, and I would say Andrei Arlovski definitely has more of a developed technique. I think he's just more of a refined fighter. But he's also easy to pressure. Buday, on the other hand, is a questionable fighter. He's struggled against Lucas Bresky, guys. So, I think I'm gonna go with Buday by decision on this one because I think that he's probably gonna output more. He's also been getting in better shape in each of his fights. He's been looking a little better. I also just can't pick someone who's 45. And I mean, he does Andrei Arlovski claims to have changed his diet and feeling better than he has before. But the dude's 45. He's been looking easier to pressure as the years have gone on. Buday has been looking in better shape in each of his fights that he's been fighting in. So I'm going to go with Buday by decision. I don't think he's that good, but I think he's probably going to do a little better than Andrei Arlovski. Yeah, so Andrei Buday by decision. All right, the next fight on the card is with Michelle Waterson Gomez versus Gillian Robertson. I'm going to go with Gillian Robertson by decision. Michelle's last win was in 2020, and that was a split decision with Angela Hill. So Michelle is also 38. Gillian is 29. I think she's going to be the fresher fighter at 29. Michelle also struggles a lot to close the distance, severely, really, really cannot close the distance. The last fight that I watched her fight in, she was punching the air from 2 feet away at least from her opponent. And 2 feet that's a lot. That's can't pick that, And unless she magically pulls a Dominic Reyes and which I don't think she's gonna do, she's also a bit slower. I can't pick someone who's 38 and lost their last 3 or 4 fights, and their last win was a decision. I don't know. And the last 2 wins before that were losses. So I can't pick her in good faith. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the mediocre Canadian lady on this one by decision. Seems like a good pick. So that was the early prelim card. We move on to the prelim card. The first fight on that card is with Payton Talbott and Yanis Ghemmouri. I'm gonna go for Payton Talbott for a finish. I think Payton Talbott is way more aggressive than Yanis. Like, it's not even comparable. And Payton Talbott is the kind of person who can put on the pressure on a guy like Yanis Ghemmouri, and Yanis Ghemmouri is just going to be on his back foot and not know what to do with it. Like, there's fighters that know how to deal with that kind of pressure, and then there's fighters that just like go in the back foot and don't know. So that's going to be Yanis Ghemmouri in this fight. To be honest, this is kind of giving Sacrificial Lamb vibes in a similar way, like Ricky Tercios versus Earl Rosas Jr., and Bo Nickel versus Cody Brundage. Also, Payton Talbott brutally boxed with Cameron Simon and finished him like a savage in round 2. Payton is also 8-0. He's undefeated. I think this is one of these cases where the UFC wants to keep him. Like, he's kind of like their golden boy, one of their golden boys. So I'm going to go with Payton Talbott. He's a dirty fighter. I think he's going to fight very dirty with Yanis Ghemmouri. I don't think he gives a fuck. He's just going to go in there and beat him and get a finish. That's what I think. So, yeah, Payton Talbot for the finish. Okay, the next fight up is with Jourdain versus Jean Silva. So, I'm going to go with Jourdain by decision. To be honest, I couldn't really find many of Jean Silva's fights online, besides a few of his like YouTube highlights. But based on everything I've seen from from doing the research, they seem to have similar fighting styles, and their stats on UFC's website are nearly identical. So I feel like this could kind of go either way, to be honest. But I'm gonna go with the. Here's the thing: the Quebecois Canadians are actually built a little different than the regular Canadians that are not from Quebec. I mean, these people barely consider themselves a part of Canada to begin with, and they're just a bit tougher and grittier. So I'm gonna go with Jourdain by to be the better dude to win the decision. To be honest, I'm saying decision because usually when it's like a close fight like this, where both dudes kind of fight similarly, it goes to decision. So yeah, next fight up is with Cub Swanson and Andrei Fili. I'm going to go with Andrei Fili on this one. I think he could also get a finish. Andrei Fili has a way of moving like an ice skater in the octagon. Like, he's very smooth and very agile. And in Cub Swanson, he's a little more stiff. Like, he bounces around, but he's a little more stiff. He also likes to dash forward. When he goes in, like, he'll lead with a jab and then just dash forward. But the thing is, Andrei Fili is, since he's so smooth, I feel like he could end up dodging most of these shots, leaving Cub Swanson in a position where he's way too close to Andrei Fili, leaving him open to Andrei Fili, just leaving Andrei Fili the opportunity to catch him. Fili also has a 4-inch reach advantage, which I think might be beneficial for him in this fight. And yeah, I think he can get a finish. So I'm going to go with Andrei Fili on this one. I think he's also just a better fighter, guys. Like, his technique has been improving. He's been looking more smooth on the feet. So yeah. Next fight up is with Joe Pyfer and Marc-Andre Barriault. I'm going to go with Street Kid Joe Pyfer for the win. I think he's just a solid, well-rounded fighter. Joe Pyfer, he lost against Jack Hermanson in a decision that went 5 rounds, and mostly that was because Jack Hermanson is a Swedish ice-bathing, Wim Hof method breathing dude that just, did better in the later rounds because he had the cardio. But otherwise, Joe Pyfer was looking pretty good initially, And Mark is a little slower. His boxing is good, but I haven't really seen him grapple, so I'm afraid of how he's going to do there. And the thing is, I feel like if Joe Pyfer starts struggling with the boxing, he can easily just take Mark to the ground, and then it's going to be over because Joe Pyfer is actually pretty good at getting takedowns. He's a strong dude, and I've seen him smash guys to the ground like no problem. So I don't really see what advantages Mark has here. I feel pretty good about Joe Pyfer winning this one, to be honest. And I feel like it's time, like I think it's time. He's a good fighter. He could have won against Hermanson, but that was 5 rounds, and you're not gonna win against the guy who's like got amazing cardio. So I'm gonna go Joe Pyfer on this one. All right, we move on to the main card, guys. This is gonna be the fight that I'm looking forward to the most. Ian Machado Garry versus Michael Page. I'm gonna go Michael Venom Page for the win, guys. You already know what I'm gonna choose here. Michael Venom Page all day. So Ian Garry claims to be good at fighting at distance. However, everyone who he's ever fought in the past has been shorter than him. So, yeah, you're good at fighting in the distance because those guys didn't have the reach to get to you. So you were able to fight at the distance. Michael Venom Page is the same height as Ian Garry. So we're about to see what happens. Also, guys, Michael Venom Page's debut in the UFC was Kevin Holland, him fighting Kevin Holland. And after round 1 of him fighting Kevin Holland said to his corner, wow, that guy's like a lot faster. He's a lot faster than we thought. So, he's indeed very fast. He's also super creative, and he's got the touch of death. In my opinion, I don't think Ian Garry is gonna know what the fuck is going on. I think we're about to see a crazy performance here, and I think Ian Garry is about to get schooled. I think he's undefeated, but I think Michael Venom Page is about to shut all that down. Also, Michael Venom Page, guys, is the black guy that UFC has been looking for. High fight IQ, entertaining, good fighter, good for marketing, good everything. Like Michael Venom, dude, we're about to see such a good fight. I don't think a lot of people understand. And also, guys, this is gonna be the last time we see Michael Venom Page as an underdog. I'm telling you, this is gonna be the last time. After this fight, I'm calling it here first. All right, the next fight on the card, Mayra Bueno Silva versus Macy Chiasson. I'm gonna go with Macy Chiasson by decision, guys. We saw Mayra getting controlled against the fence by 41-year-old Holly Holm. Bad look, guys. Bad look. Macy was also facing a similarly built opponent previously, Pani Kianzad. I was able to win those exchanges with her. She's going to be so much bigger than Mayra. She's 5'11". Mayra is 5'6". I think she could actually get a sub here because she seems to whenever she panics in exchanges, she grabs onto her opponent and starts grappling with them. And because she's so big, she can just take the other girl to the ground. So I think we might be able to see some of that here. And her grappling is not bad. So I could see her totally winning these exchanges. So I'm going to go with her either by decision or a sub. I think she could get a sub here. Just because, I've seen her do this to that girl, Pani Kiasrad, and I could see her doing this to Mayra Bueno Silva. I also just don't see how Mayra Bueno Silva is going to be able to touch Macy Chiasson, her being 5'11", and Silva being 5'6". It's just, I think Macy Chiasson has, a 7-inch reach advantage. Not looking good for Mayra Bueno Silva. So the next fight up is with Anthony Smith and Dolidze. So, to be honest, I don't really believe in Anthony Smith. He won his last fight against Vitor Petrino via totally getting disrespected and taking advantage of Petrino's stupidity. However, I don't have much faith in Dolidze either. I think his striking is okay. I actually think that Anthony Smith has the better striking. I think he dodges shots better. He's better defending in general, it seems. But the only thing is, though, his output seems to be a lot less than Dolidze's. So what is more likely? Is it more likely that Anthony Smith defends better, dodges more shots, or is it more likely that Dolidze lands more shots than Anthony Smith and wins that way. I don't know. Either way, I feel like this one's gonna go to decision because neither of these. I mean, like Anthony Smith just doesn't seem like he's. I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna get a finish. Like I don't think Dolidze is gonna disrespect him the same way Vitor Petrino did. I don't think he's gonna jump in to into Anthony Smith's face doing anything stupid. But I do think that Anthony Smith is a little better, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Anthony Smith is better. If he's able to dodge all of Dolidze's shots, I think he's probably gonna get a decision win. So I'm gonna take him via decision. Yeah. All right. Next fight on the card. Another fight I'm super excited for. Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopes. So I'm actually gonna go with Brian Ortega by submission. I think that Brian Ortega went and broke his beak on a rock and came back a changed man, guys. Seriously. He proved that he can counter bullies like Yair Rodriguez. He got smashed in round 1. After that round, got sat down by his coaches, listened to them, did better in round 2, and he fucking got that submission in round 3. I don't think he's fucking around anymore, guys. And who has Diego Lopes faced? Sadiq Youssef, Pat Sabatini, Gavin Tucker? Are you guys forgetting that Brian Ortega almost put Volk to sleep? Only Alexander Volkanovski can survive a choke like that, turn purple, and not tap. Like I don't think any other fighter could do something like that. Like there were times in that fight where I was like, how is Volkanovski still alive and standing and coming back stronger? Like that shit was some weird voodoo magic. Now, I do not think Diego Lopes is Volkanovski, guys. We've seen what happened to everyone who has tried to grapple with Brian Ortega. He's like a snake. He finds a way around them and he finds a way to win. So I have a feeling that Diego Lopes is going to go into this really confident. I mean, he's a good fighter, guys. I'm not saying Diego Lopes is no joke. But I have a feeling he's going to try to grapple with him. He has good grappling. People have been telling him that he does have good grappling. And I just think that he's going to lose in those exchanges. I think Brian Ortega is way too quick with his hands. He's really good at maneuvering himself or like in tricky positions. And I think that like whatever Diego Lopes is going to bring to the table, Brian Ortega has already seen. He's already seen these tricks, guys. And also we've seen Brian Ortega go the distance. We've seen him go 5 rounds before. We have not seen Diego Lopes go 5 rounds. This is like, we might see, Diego Lopes gas out if it ends up going this far. But seriously, guys, like, Brian Ortega is actually really good. He's fought guys with boxing like Max Holloway. I don't think that Diego Lopes has that kind of precise boxing. He's really good, but we haven't really seen him continuously been able to like land shots like these. We haven't seen Max Holloway type boxing from him. We also haven't seen like supreme jiu-jitsu from him either. He's just very fast, guys. He's very fast. But Brian Ortega is not that fast, but he's very slick. The only thing that worries me about Brian Ortega is that this guy is somehow fragile as shit. Like we saw in his fight right before with Yair, where he like jumped and his ankle buckled. Like, dude, that kind of shit is like bizarre to see, to be honest. But I still think Ortega is gonna win. I think he's got a whole different mindset, and I think he's gonna be able to deal well with everything that Diego Lopes throws at him on this one. Okay, guys, and the main event. We move on to the main event: Alex Pereira versus Yuri Prochazka 2. I'm going to go with Alex Pereira by KO. I've been watching back the first fight between these two, and I realized that the whole time Yuri was either not doing much damage or simply missing his shots. And it's crazy because the commentators were making it seem like, oh, Yuri was landing these shots. Oh, Yuri's doing damage. But if you watch back that fight, you'll like look closely, and you'll see that what is Yuri really doing? Not much. And I know that Pereira wasn't doing that much that fight either, but he also wasn't really taking damage. He wasn't really getting hurt. Even when Yuri took him down, he couldn't do that much damage to him on the ground. Like, he barely landed one elbow. And Pereira is just so strong. He's definitely a quantity over quality type of guy. Like, he won't just shoot multiple times. He'll kind of focus a lot and wait for the perfect moment and then just smash with all the power and energy, you know? Like, Yuri ended up landing some strikes later on in the fight that, like, okay, sure, he landed some strikes. Didn't do that much damage. Barely did any damage. Pereira landed 2 strikes, both wobbled him, and then he proceeded to hammer fist Yuri to sleep. So, you know, even, like, I could totally see this fight going, like, Yuri doing, like, trying to do a bunch of stuff in the beginning, exhausting himself, while Pereira waits and waits and waits for the perfect shot. It doesn't even matter how many strikes Pereira eats, because he can eat them. Like, he's a tough, strong guy. Pereira just needs one opening, guys. Just one opening. Just one opening. And I think he's gonna get it, to be honest. Like, he's already fought Yuri once. And I know the last time Yuri had stap and he took the fight on short notice and all that. And I know he's training super hard this time, but I just still don't think so. And you know what? Yuri was asked on media day what would change in this upcoming fight, what he would change. And he was saying, oh, you know, well, I was watching back the previous fight and I'm not going to change anything. My guy, you said you're not going to change anything. I don't know about that. I just, you know, I cannot back the man who says that, because, yeah. Anyhow, I'm going to go with Alex Pereira. I just don't see how Yuri Prochazka is going to get to him. I think he's going to try. You know, I just don't think that Alex Pereira is the kind of guy you can get to. Izzy Adesanya got to him once by some freak fucking accident. And that was like when Pereira was fighting in a lower weight class. He has since moved up a weight class, has said he's felt better, and he has been looking better, to be honest. And I haven't seen him as careless as he has been before he got KO'd by Izzy that time. He's been super, super, super careful. I don't see him getting finished by Yuri Prochazka. The only way I see Yuri winning this one is if Alex doesn't get a KO and it goes to decision, because then the judges can say, oh, well, Yuri did more damage, technically. But I do see Alex Pereira finding that opening. It's going to be 5 rounds. He's going to find a moment for sure. And yeah, I'm going to go with him on this one. Anyhow, guys, thank you for watching my video. This is coming out super late because I've been so done with life these days. It's been a frustrating week. But yeah, thank you for watching and listening. I put a lot of time into these predictions as well, and I'm actually very excited because the last 2 cards have been kind of like eh. But this card looks pretty good, especially the main card. But even the prelims are looking pretty decent as well. I'm excited to watch them. I will say though, guys, I might not be able to go live for the early prelim card, but I'll be live for regular prelims and main card. So I'll see you guys later. Thank you for watching again. Thank you for watching. And it's like 1 a.m. I'm so tired. Okay. Bye guys. See you next time.